Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Blame It on the Stars, where we give you an inside look at what's going on in the universe so you can blame your problems on the stars. It is Jade here.
And it's Kara.
And this week, we'll be talking all about Jupiter entering Cancer, the full moon in Sagittarius, and Mars entering Virgo. But in case you missed it, last week we talked all about Venus entering Taurus and Mercury entering Cancer. So if you want to know more about that, then definitely check out last week's episode before diving into this one.
And just to give you a heads up, next week we will tell you everything that you need to know about Cancer season and how it affects you.
And with that being said, let's dive into the episode. So the first thing that happens this week is Jupiter entering Cancer. This will happen on June 9th at 5:02 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And per usual, the date and time are from the website astroseek.com. What you need to know: Jupiter in Cancer is actually a pretty lucky transit to have. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, meaning it functions really well in the sign, and Jupiter is the planet of growth, luck, and expansion. So Jupiter in Cancer will bring a lot of expansive themes around things like emotional security and your loved ones. It's a really good time to grow roots and nurture what feels safe, supportive, and also spiritually fulfilling.
How you will feel. You might notice that you're feeling more connected to your inner self and the people around you. There's more of a focus on creating warmth and support in your relationships and into your life in general. You could also notice that you're more focused on nurturing your goals and trusting that things will work out the way that they're meant to, especially because you're really connected to your intuition. You can lean into that energy and allow it to guide you.
So where this will show up in your life, you might notice that there's more of a focus on whatever feels like home to you, whether that is maybe thinking about moving places or where in the world you would like to live. This could also be growth in other areas that are related to taking care of yourself and others. So think of things like cooking really nourishing meals for yourself or practicing building emotional safety with others. And spiritually, this is a really good time to get in touch with your inner self. So anything like journaling, meditation, therapy, if possible for you, those are all things that might be relevant to you during this time.
What will become important to you? You're going to start prioritizing your emotional well-being and long-term stability. You might start to notice whether your habits, daily life, the goals that you set for yourself, if that's feeling fulfilling or emotionally supportive. And if it isn't, this would be a time where you're focused on shifting things and adapting things so that you can shift towards something that feels fulfilling and more supportive. There also will be more of an emphasis on trust and being open with others and yourself.
If you're wondering how long this lasts, Jupiter will be in Cancer for quite a while. You've got about a year. Jupiter will enter Leo on June 30th, 2026 at 1:52 a.m. So like I said, you have roughly a year to experience this transit.
And as always, certain signs will be affected more than others. The signs that are most affected by Jupiter in Cancer are Cancer, Capricorn, Aries, and Libra. Personal placements only, so Sun, Moon, Rising, Mercury, Venus, and or Mars placements.
And while this is not a Venus transit, which typically deals with love, Jupiter does create a lot of luck wherever it falls. So certain rising signs might still be more likely to find love due to this luck boost. And those rising signs are Capricorn rising, since Jupiter will be expanding your 7th house of relationships, and Pisces risings, since Jupiter will be expanding the 5th house of romance. And again, that is rising sign only. There are a few key dates you're going to want to pay attention to while Jupiter is in Cancer, since Jupiter does make quite a few outer planet aspects. The first will be June 15th. Jupiter will square Saturn. This is actually the last of the 3 set of Jupiter square Saturns we've had. The first 2 were happening in Gemini and Pisces. Now it's happening with Cancer and Aries. In general, Jupiter square Saturn can sometimes make you feel like you're being held back or slowing down when there's certain things you want to really move forward with and grow through. But Saturn is encouraging you to stay grounded and practical. But even still, this could feel like a clashing energy.
And then on June 18th, Jupiter will square Neptune. Neptune can bring about a dreamy energy, but because this is a square, it also will feel a little bit unclear. You might notice that you are dreaming big and getting really excited about your plans, but it's also possible that within that excitement, you might start to feel a little bit overwhelmed with how big you're dreaming. So if you do notice that within yourself, just remember to stay grounded and to try to balance those dreams with practical actions.
And lastly, on September 4th, Jupiter will trine the North Node, which is a day where personal growth could feel really aligned with your purpose. So it's going to be really important that you pay attention to any opportunities that feel like they are really going to put you on the right path, as they may be a slight nudge in the right direction for you. The next thing happening this week that you're going to want to pay attention to is the full moon in Sagittarius. This will happen on June 11th at 3:43 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which could be late night June 10th, depending on your time zone. What you need to know: full moons are about releasing and letting go so more things can come in. And this full moon is going to really spotlight on truth, freedom, and exploration, all Sagittarius themes. So this could be an opportunity to let go of any limiting beliefs that are stopping you from stepping into a more bigger and more authentic version of yourself. There could be a moment of clarity where you realize what's been holding you back or what you need to let go of to grow.
How you will feel. Because full moons can bring about heightened emotions and Sagittarius comes with a lot of energy, you might notice that your desire for change comes from a more restless energy or just feeling ready to switch things up or take on a new adventure. You might notice that this is a time where you have to let go of any fears or beliefs that are holding you back so that you can start fresh and try something new.
Where this will show up in your life, you might notice that there's more opportunities to explore new ideas or share your knowledge. So if you have an opportunity to teach something or publish something, that might be something that pops up around the full moon. There can also be an opportunity for long distance travel or some type of opportunity to expand your mind, whether that's through learning something new or even through spirituality or having more deeper philosophical conversations with others.
What will become important to you? Speaking your truth and making sure that your beliefs are aligned with your values is going to be a big focus. This is a time to check in with yourself about what you really want and let go of things that are holding you back.
Certain signs will be more affected than others by this full moon, and those signs are Sagittarius, Gemini, Virgo, Pisces, personal placements only, meaning Sun, Moon, Rising, Mercury, Venus, and or Mars placements. And there are some aspects to this full moon that make this just a little bit more impactful. The first is that the full moon does square the nodes, which can make this feel like a bit of a turning point, like something is ending or needs to shift in order to keep you aligned with your life path.
And the moon will also be trine Mars, which is going to give you motivation to take action on the things that you're feeling. It also can give you the push that you need to let go of things, especially areas of your life that you haven't maybe focused on or taken a closer look at recently.
And the last thing happening this week is Mars entering Virgo, which happens on June 17th at 4:36 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. What you need to know, Mars in Virgo will bring a very focused and efficient energy, which makes this a really good time to get organized, clean things up in your life, whether that is physically or metaphorically, and also take more strategic action. There is definitely more of an emphasis on acts of service and using your energy productively.
How you will feel. You're going to feel more motivated to check things off on your to-do list, tidy up, or even perfect things that you've been working on. This energy is really helpful for creating structure, but do keep in mind that Virgo energy does have the tendency to fall into perfectionism. So keep that in mind and do your best to not get too caught up in the details.
Where this will show up in your life. You might find yourself reorganizing your space, refining your routines, or improving your process at work. This is a really good time to also focus on health and wellness. If that is something you've been putting off, going for walks, scheduling doctor's appointments, all of that good stuff, it's a good time to do it during Mars in Virgo.
What will become important to you? You're going to be more focused on being efficient, precise, and also helping others. You might notice that you want to show up for others in more tangible, helpful ways. You also might notice that you're more intentional with the way that you spend your time, avoiding things that don't feel useful or productive.
If you're wondering how long this lasts, Mars will be in Virgo until August 6th at 7:24 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, when Mars will enter Libra.
The signs most affected by Mars in Virgo are Virgo, Pisces, Gemini, and Sagittarius. Personal placements only, so Sun, Moon, Rising, Mercury, Venus, or Mars.
And there are a couple of key dates that you're going to want to pay attention to. These are the aspects that Mars will make as it moves through Virgo. Starting off with June 22nd, Mars will sextile Jupiter, which is a really good day to take bold action towards something that is meaningful to you, since this aspect really supports progress and growth, but in a very grounded and practical way.
And lastly, on July 22nd, Mars will be opposite the North Node. This can bring about some tension or confusion when it comes to your path and where you're headed. However, this gives you a chance to make any adjustments or let go of things so that you can continue on a path that is meaningful to you.
And that is it for this week's episode. Just a reminder, next week we're talking all about Cancer season and how that affects you. So if you want to know more about that, then definitely make sure wherever you're listening to the podcast, you're subscribed with the notifications turned on so you don't miss when we post next week. But until then, that is all for now, and we'll see you all next Monday.